And it's PM and it's our allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we have all of our counselors, with the exception of Councilor Leah, and we have Councilor Steele over the phone. Okay, so at this time, we will open it up if there's any public comment, or anyone online or in the audience. Okay, all right, so we will move on, and we're actually going to skip down to item 74. Consideration of recommendation from the appointments committee, and I understand we have Whitney on here tonight. Thank you. There's a suggested motion.
Yeah, I move to confirm the recommended, or I should say the applicant for the comprehensive plan rotation committee, Patricia Savory and Whitney Khan.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? And on the phone?
You in favor? In favor.
So we have all in favor. Great. We'll go ahead and move right back to item 56. Thank you very much, Whitney. Item 56 is the school municipal budget validation referendum election timeline.
Yeah, so I've had a chance to talk with all of the council members about this, but we're looking to move the election from June 10th to June 17th. And I've explained sort of why that is. We want to make sure that we have every opportunity to get the notices posted and the absentee ballots out 30 days in advance of the election. And so this timeline will allow us to do that. So, but
No action on our.
no action. I just want to answer any questions that anyone might have at this point. Yeah, and so in your packets, let me pull out the sheet. It's a sheet that looks like this, and I think I also had an opportunity to speak with each of you about the capital improvement plan. And so there's just one real question right now, and that's regarding the mulcher head. So Kevin was looking at what it might cost to contract that out versus purchasing a piece of equipment. He's also going to be speaking with Monmouth to see if there's an opportunity for us to share in that cost and then share the piece of equipment. But otherwise, we started off with the $1.7 million in the assigned fund balance and then started subtracting things from it, starting with the new phone system for the Winthrop Public Schools and got down to zero. As I explained to each of you previously, the portions in blue there at the bottom are actually financing costs of the last year of payments and a lease financing for 3 pieces of public works equipment and 1 rechassing of an ambulance. So even if you approve this tonight as part of the budget, that doesn't mean that this is necessarily locked in stone, because at any future point, you could say, you know what, we want to move some money from this line item to this other line item. And we could do that at any point during the year. But this was meant to just sort of be a starting place for this. And if any of the council wants to move money tonight in this, then we can note that and make sure that that's part of the capital improvement plan as you approve it this evening, hopefully. Yeah, and Shannon and I talked about this. There may be an opportunity to move some of our existing TIP funds that we have in the bank into this project, if and when we decide we want to have a little seed money in order to hopefully leverage some grants to do some bigger things at Norcross Point. And so there's just a message online, just reminding everyone to speak directly into your mics, please.
So that, as you and I discussed earlier, the chat about, that TIF agreement may turn out to be a little bit different. Depending on when the expiration is, what we do there.
Yeah, so I'm gonna need some clarification from the attorney about what we can and can't do with the existing TIF funds that we have. And then also Andy raised a really good question about, obviously, the credit enhancement agreement only impacts one property owner right now, so. And that TIF will expire 3/4 of the way through the fiscal year, so, you know, sort of what the tax implication is for that property owner of having essentially 3/4 of the year with the tax break with the tax increment financing district, and then a quarter of the year where they'd be paying full taxes on the full evaluated price.
Is that we throw in last order. You know, in terms of full taxes or. Do we already the first 3/4 of the payment? I'll tell you what I go about that. I would want to know if they favor anything that's gonna give the guy a break, and have all kinds of opportunities. Or those.
Yeah, I probably don't, I imagine we'll pay basic time for that, probably look at least.
About this already for that last quarter, depends in March.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what the attorney says, because so part thing to make sure we're doing it the right way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just put miscellaneous on here just in case you folks have any last questions about the budget as proposed.
Do you have any comment on budget?
So with that, we will move on. Any other questions from any of the council? Comments? Okay, with that, we move on to item 67, consideration of resolution 2025-01 for the fiscal year 26 municipal budget. A resolution providing for after the municipal budget for the fiscal period July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026, in the gross amount of $12,493,741, which the following estimated revenues totaling $7,387,785 have been applied to reduce the appropriation from taxes. $1.3 million for excise taxes, $2,008,469 from state revenue sharing, homestead, and DEP, $1,636,667, from the assigned cap fund, $2,442,649 in the various departmental revenues, providing a net total municipal budget to be raised from taxation of $5,105,956. This includes the following estimated assessments for the TIF agreement, $71,500, and the overlay of $50,000.
Are you? Resolution 25-1 FY 26 budget.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion, we'll do a roll call vote with James on the phone.
In favor.
In favor?
Go ahead.
In favor.
All right, so all in favor, 6-0. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to waive the second reading.
There a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
In favor.
James? Okay, all in favor, thank you. All right, moving on to item 68, consideration of a resolution 2025-02, fiscal year 26. This is passing the fiscal year 26 school budget, public education pre-K through grade 12. So this is a sum of $14,694,877 to be appropriated for the total cost of funding public education for pre-K through grade 12. Describing the essential programs and services funding act with a sum of $9,193,055. We raise up the town contribution to the total cost of funding public education for K through grade 12. No. Okay. All right. So with that, the chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2025 dash FY 26 school budget, public education.
It's -2.
That's two.
Oh, dash two or dash?
That's two.
Dash two, okay. FY 26 school budget, public education, PK through 12, and section.
Is there any discussion?
Any discussion?
I'll start with a roll call with James.
Nearly. In favor?
In favor?
In favor?
Yes.
Yes, everybody is in favor. All right, is there a motion to waive the second reading?
Make a motion to waive second reading.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? James?
Favor.
Okay. Okay. All right, moving on to item 69, consideration of resolution 25-3, fiscal year 26 school budget and the additional political funds.
Move to approve resolution 2025-3, FY 26 school budget, additional local funds.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call, let's start with James and all in favor?
In favor?
In favor?
In favor?
Yes.
Yes. All in favor? Any motion to waive the second reading?
I'll make a motion to waive second reading.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
In favor.
Okay, 6-0. Thank you. And we will move on to item 70, consideration of resolution 2025-4, fiscal year 26 school budget for adult education.
Move to approve resolution 2024-4 for fiscal year 25, school budget adult education. Should be fiscal year 26.
Second?
Any discussion? All right, we'll call vote, all in favor? James?
In favor.
Zach?
In favor.
In favor.
In favor?
Okay, all are in favor, thank you.
I'll make a motion to waive second reading.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor, we waive the second reading. James? Thank you, 6-0. All right, and moving on to item 71, consideration of resolution 2025-5, fiscal year 26 school budget for school nutrition.
Motion to move to approve resolution 2025 by FY 26 school budget, school nutrition.
Second?
Any discussion? All right, starting with the roll call vote, I'll start with James.
In favor?
In favor.
In favor?
Yes.
Yes, 6-0. All right, and
Motion to waive second reading.
Second?
any discussion? All in favor to waive the second reading? All are in favor, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And at this time, we will move on to item 72, discussion of the charter commission appointments. Candidate, have submitted the nomination packets.
Yeah.
Have a good night, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Have a good night.
I'm having a hard time with this. I mean, we put the word out that we would like people to come and help us, serve on the charter commission committee. And I did understand that only a few people volunteered. And
One.
one, right, and I have somewhere else maybe. And it seems to me that if we we could take a decision that the townspeople just don't want us to bother with this. No one volunteering to do it. We're probably with the point.
It'll be on the ballot.
Yeah.
We still have to vote for it.
Yeah.
Well, but who's gonna make the change, that's the thing, I mean, if we appoint people, will they serve diligently? I mean, we can't just go grab somebody off the street, you know, right?
No, I mean, they have to, I would assume, we would not want to have jobs, a process or like application situation, and it's easy. Hopefully by then, if they want to do it, you know, if it passes, and then, we'll have to go through the appointment process versus election.
Yeah, so to your point, Andy, I think for some people, it may be a little intimidating to have to pull papers, gather the signatures, run on the ballot. They may be willing to serve, they may not be willing to run, you know? And so what I've outlined here in this memo is, at least the way that I see it, you have sort of two options. One is we can do what we always do. We can put out a call for people who want to serve through the usual channels and encourage people to submit applications. And I did have a few people who told me that they might be interested in serving, that just didn't want to have to be on a ballot. And so we could do it that way and see what applications that we get, and then do it as we normally do. We could submit those applications to the appointments committee, and you folks, if you wanted to, you could interview them and come back with a recommendation for the council to consider.
Just gonna try that first.
Yeah, I would just do that, try that.
And there's also a possibility that we may get some write-in candidates on the ballot as well.
I would just try that and yeah, because you're right, maybe people don't want to serve, run.
Yeah, and if at that point we're still short, then maybe then it's an opportunity for the council to actually approach some people in whom you have some confidence, who you'd say, hey, we could. So I'm going to share just a brief story here. So Whitney and I encountered one another very recently, and we had a very constructive and productive conversation. And then I saw her attend the last council meeting, and just seeing her at the council meeting made me think she would be great on one of our committees. So what did I do? I called her and I personally asked her, hey, would you be willing to serve on a committee? And once we talked about it a little bit, she said yes. And so it's always been my experience that that's the best way to get volunteers to serve on a committee. You've got to personally ask them to serve, because left to their own devices, they won't ever think about serving on the comp plan committee, right? So anyway, so we have some opportunities here is all I'm saying.
I had one candidate. Some things are in the town smarter, I said, well, you're lucky you.
That's a good discussion.
But we'll see what happens with that.
So is that what you folks want to do? Just sort of as we normally do? We can put out the call as early as
Yeah, that's
tomorrow
fine.
for people to apply, and then as we get applications, we'll submit them. And at the end of the day, after June 17th, we'll see if any write-in candidates get elected. And after that, then you'll know how many people you'll need to appoint.
Yeah.
The charter itself? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No.
So
My God.
Minimum of 100.
Oh my gosh.
That year.
I don't pay them any more money than town council gets.
Sure, yeah, so I'll post the charter, of course, it was written in the 1970s, it's groovy.
Don't make it look updated, whatever.
Right. Okay.
So how many people do you think that we need to have on this?
It depends, Andy, so you've already appointed Aaron to serve as your own representative. It's supposed to be up to 9 members with 3 appointees and 6 elected,
Okay.
so we can assume that our one candidate will get enough votes to be elected. And then it depends upon how many write-in candidates may get votes. So you could be appointing up to 7 members.
Good.
That's good. Yeah, thank you very much.
Item 73, consideration of approval of the minutes of the April 7th and April 28th, 2025 council meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Is James on here? All right, thank you. All right, and so that I think wraps it up. Is there anyone online for a public comment? Nobody in the audience here. We will move on to the town manager's report.
So just a reminder, Day of Caring happens on the May 13th, and we've got some projects that town staff could work on other than our Public Works Department, which will be
Have at it.
really involved. And so, well, that's the question is, last year we closed the town office in order to participate. I would like to do that again this year. It's May 13th. And so,
I'm
so,
good with that.
okay, so we'll start publicizing it then and let folks know. They do have a rain date. I'll have to check to see what it is. It may be the next day, but I'm not positive about that. So, and if you guys would like to participate, everyone's welcome. So we'll definitely plan on doing that.
Send us one of your very prolific emails.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Certainly. So we've had some questions about street sweeping. The street sweeping has been going on for a couple of weeks now, but just in case you get asked any questions, we're alternating weeks with the street sweeper with Monmouth. And so we anticipate being done no later than late May, but it takes us about a month. It takes Monmouth about a month. And so if people will just be patient with us, we will get to their streets eventually if it hasn't been swept already. In case you haven't noticed, the flags have already gone up on Main Street. So we're ready for Memorial Day from that standpoint. Just an FYI, next week on May 14th, I'm going to be attending a technology conference that the MMA is hosting. And one of the big aspects of that is artificial intelligence. So I'm really looking forward to learning more about how we might be able to incorporate some of that technology into what we do. Yeah, you can go.
You could?
Yep.
How would I find, is it on their website?
Yeah.
Let me look into that. 'Cause
Okay.
I want to see what they're talking about.
So last week we did interviews with a really strong ambulance chief candidate. Jim helped us with those interviews. That person's going to be meeting with the staff this coming Friday, and after that, hopefully, we'll be on the path to potentially having a new ambulance chief. Last week, I sat for about an hour in a hearing room over at the State House, only to not have a work session happen in regards to LD 215, which is Tavis's bill regarding large recovery homes. But there's still a lot of interest in that community on doing something with that. So we're still very hopeful that something's going to come from that process. So right now, the way that the amended bill reads is that any facilities that are more than 26 beds or 26 beds or more would only get the 70% of general assistance. So the town would be off the hook completely as far as the amount of money that would have to be going to that. So they're still working through that. And then lastly, I sent this memo to you. Shannon pointed out, I sent it like 3 or 4 times to you guys from the MMA, but there is a petition effort going on right now by which some voters are seeking to veto the state budget. Now, this is fraught because if that happens and if it passes in November, then, well, if the signatures are certified, that's when the funding stops from the state. And it wouldn't be decided until the November election. And then if it passes after the November election, then the legislature would have to go back to the drawing board. In the meantime, no state funds for schools, counties, or municipalities. So, as I said, this is fraught at best, and it just strikes me as throwing babies out with bathwater at this point. People may be unhappy with their state government, but do they want their local government also shutting down as a result of this? So I did talk with one legislator who sort of cautioned that this person thought that if we publicize this fact and just letting people know, hey, these are the consequences of participating in this petition drive, and then, if it comes to a vote of actually voting for it, that may encourage some people to actually do the opposite, and actually sign the petition. I still think we have a responsibility to let the public know about this and what the implications are. But before I did that, I wanted to make sure that I had the council's blessing to do that. If you think that that's problematic in some way, then I think we need to discuss it.
Well, I think letting the public know and letting the public know what the definitive, pardon me, consequences would be, is fair game, but no opinion.
Yeah, we can't advocate a position, but we can say, if this happens, here's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna potentially be paying more.
Well,
If you lose funds from the state, if,
the local taxpayer will be on the hook if we want to
Yes.
keep schools and
yes,
counties.
that's how
and
you gotta
towns
word
open.
it.
And if you look at it, if there's a state freeze, then also any kind of municipal services such as processing registrations, yeah, boat registrations, as we're getting ready for.
Good
summer
point.
games. Those things will all be on pause,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, good point. So, okay, well, we will move forward with that, but that's all I had for the town manager report.
I'd like to just throw in, last Friday, the public works came over and gave me a hand. We got the historic society bell placed on Main Street. And we couldn't have done it without them. They were just couldn't have been more helpful and cooperative. Timing, set it all up. They were there when they said they were gonna be. I was there, better done.
Well, the bell looks very nice out there.
Yep,
It looks very nice.
yep.
We have more to do, but it's there finally.
It's good.
Thanks for saying that, Andy.
Is there any other comments from the council? All right, so I think that closes the public portion of our meeting.
Move into executive session, one MRSA, section 405-6A personnel.
Second.
Great, and so that is at 6:29.
We covered the.
Is this on?
Okay.